3, 2, 1. Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. It's time for us to focus on Shelton. I do want to make a note before we start this broadcast for those watching the interview here today. We taped this on Monday before the current slate of proclamations by the governor was put into order. That's why we're still here. We are making changes to this, and will probably be one of the last times we have people in studio. Just like pumpkin spice, eggnog, and peppermint, holiday quick bucks are back, so stop by our community credit union for a limited time and check with them for details. Deputy Mayor Deidre Peterson and City of Shelton City Manager Jeff Niten in with me today. Good morning to you both. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Doing great.
As I mentioned, this is the week where we heard a lot more offerings from the governor and related to coronavirus, and it is going to put an impact into Shelton. And we're talking today about the budget, and I know over the months that we talk, you guys aren't really necessarily even seeing a lot of the dollars and the trends until months after things have happened as you look to make your 2021 budget. Mm-hmm. How are you even able to start at this process with so much up in the air?
So we have a outstanding finance director who is very well versed in quite a few things, not COVID projections, of course, but that's new to everybody. But his judgment and his ability to forecast what's happening is a great benefit to the city. Our forecast and our tiered approach to adjusting our 2020 budget was instrumental in us achieving our A+ rating and getting the bond refunded earlier this year. That'll save taxpayers a little over $3 million.
That's great.
And shave about 7 years off the payments.
Yes.
Even better.
Yes.
That's really great.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of hard work, Deputy Mayor, that you and the council have been working on. And what are your thoughts, and where are you trying to navigate this budget for next year? What are some of the priorities?
Sure. I mean, when it comes right down to it, we're really looking at what we are mandated to do as a city. So what are those essential city services that our taxpayers, our residents, our neighbors need from us, and how can we deliver those? And so we were really blessed this year that early on, as the economy began to change and we began to respond to the pandemic, the staff and worked really closely with council to look at what changes do we need to make along the way so that we were ready to respond quickly and be able to have some flexibility in looking ahead. So part of that was the elimination of 5 FTEs out of the budget. We, of course, didn't want to see that. A lot of those were positions that were previously unfilled. We had hoped to bring back this year. This was not the year to do that, obviously. Yeah. So we're just taking each day as it comes, and as Jeff mentioned, making adjustments along the way, which has a big impact at the end of the year.
How are you anticipating the revenues to come in for next year? Aaron B. Miller, right, the city treasurer, we've had him on to talk a little bit about these. It's just when you rely so much as a city government on a tax structure, and as this week is showing more restrictions and the kind of the shuttering back down, a modified phase 2, I guess, if you're looking at it that way, that's going to have major impacts next year.
It will. One of the things that we're looking at is Shelton, fortunately or unfortunately, does not have RV sales or boat sales or those kind of things that some cities have come to depend on as part of their sales tax revenue. We do have a lot of necessities, things people need to survive, and that's why we haven't particularly seen as big a dip as other cities have.
Sure.
And that's very important in our projections, but also, as the Deputy Mayor mentioned, keeping a very close eye on what's coming in, and if we can forecast a dip or even anticipated a little bit of a drop, we'll be able to react to that quickly. We already have plans in place to do that once we see the actuals coming in that show us that data.
And then what's the timeline for citizen input on these kind of things, and how does that process take shape this year?
Sure. So we've been meeting on Zoom because of things being as they are, and we do have the opportunity for citizens to make public comment during that time and during public hearings as well. They can join the Zoom themselves or submit in writing to City Manager Jeff Niten to his email address, and we have all that information on Mason Web TV. But if you go to the City Council page on the City of Shelton website, sheltonwa.gov, there's information there about what we'll be discussing, and we want to make sure that our citizens have an opportunity to talk with council and tell us what's important as we're making these decisions. And that can happen outside of the meetings too. All of us have our own cell phone numbers and emails posted there. We welcome that feedback. And it's a challenging time, so it's important to us to know what you need to see from us. And hopefully we're doing a good job of explaining how we're being good stewards of taxpayer dollars, right? That's really our job, to make sure that the city is serving us and doing so in the most financially responsible way possible and being transparent in that process.
We've talked a little bit about, over this last couple of months, ways that different departments have been able to find monies and work better the way they've been doing things. Have you seen or noticed any silver linings that you want to pass along? Something where an industry that may have been on the teeter last year is somehow flourishing this year, or just other ways that there's got to be some silver lining stories to share. There's got to
Well,
be.
Go ahead.
Obviously, my day job is at the Chamber of Commerce, and so I see a little bit of the community side of that with different industries. And folks are being really affected differently by it. Some are really struggling, and others are finding opportunities to create new products, deliver their services in new ways. Obviously, with people being home, they're doing a lot more home improvements and things, and so we're seeing that kind of pride of place, pride of community, which is fantastic to see. But more than anything, I think people are watching out for each other. They realize this is a tough time, and it's going to be a little easier on everyone if we can all kind of shoulder the burden together and help moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. We're all in this together, and the community is really trying as best it can to rally together and make the best of a terrible situation as we get to the end of the year. The Focus on Shelton this week and every week is brought to you by our Community Credit Union, where holiday quick bucks are back. Deputy Mayor Deidre Peterson, Shelton City Manager Jeff Niten, good to see you guys.
Thanks so
And again,
much.
thank you for coming in.
Good to see you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us in.
All right.